We'll have our call to order.
Director Stock?
Here.
Director Hill?
Here.
Director Wellman?
Here.
Chair Sackett?
Here. Thank you. Now we'll start with our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, there are no action items to report on this evening's closed session. So our next item on the agenda will be our public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for any person desiring to address the board on any matter not on this agenda and over which this board has jurisdiction. Please be advised, however, the Brown Act prohibits action on items that are not listed on the agenda or properly added to the agenda under the provisions of the Brown Act. The board members may, however, respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may ask to direct staff to place a matter on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please step to the podium and state your name for the record before making your comments. Are there any public comments this evening? Yes. You can come to the podium. Oh, okay.
Hi, Steve Cook on Peregrine Place. One of the things I wanted to bring up is I haven't seen anything on it lately, and I ran a search across all the previous bridges and so forth, and I didn't see anything there. But I'm not hearing anything regarding communications plans for road improvements. And I know it's a sore spot. There was a failure, and I understand that. As you know, frankly, it's just it's primarily a communications failure, and primarily due to COVID, I think, fell off the mark. But regardless, here we are. And I did a little searching to find out, sort of categorize when roads need to be repaired versus oiled versus patched versus sealed. And, there are clear rules, and it's very clear that the longer you wait, the worse it gets, and there is a point of no return. So we've got, a capital investment, our roads, and we're letting it decay. And I'm not hearing communications around any of it. And I think you're addressing sewers. I'm not jumping here, but I think you're addressing sewers, but I think you're addressing it directly to the people who are impacted by it, which is what the grand jury report required. And I know that you've got 3 venues in which you're supposed to communicate in, moving forward. I get that. But what I'm not hearing is any communications on road to sort of build the awareness that it's not going away. And I think this is the real issue we have, and we see it in the social networks, is people, they don't want to spend money. They don't want to spend money on stuff that's not theirs. And they don't want to spend money if they don't see the benefit. And we're doing nothing to sort of increase the level of awareness and education, and we need to do that. And even if we don't have a strategic plan, or even if we haven't communicated a strategic plan, even if we haven't sort of done a forecast by year of what our expenditures are going to be and all the different areas of responsibility that are sort of cost recovery, tax base, et cetera, we need to be doing that, and we need to be communicating that, because we're going to run into the same issue. We're going to ask for money, and they're going to say no, and we're going to have more decay. So what I'm getting at is we need to have a plan near term to begin to have the discussion. I'm going to do things on my own because that's what I do, because I'm outside of you. I can do that, and I think there's a benefit to that. But I think you all need to be doing it. I think the district needs to be doing it. So I would ask, that you ask the district to come up with a more concise set of deliverables around the need to do this, and whether this ends up, and I think it should, in the formation of a committee because it worked. The same principles can work, but I think we need to move in that direction. And it just becomes clear driving down the hill today, before dark, and it's obvious when the roads are wet, you can see the problems, and it isn't just, you're not just counting the new asphalt patches, they're doing good on that, but, the seams, the breakage, the lack of, crack filling, the edges eroding, it's going to hit us. It's going to hit us hard, and it's going to be in dollars. And, from what I've read, the sooner we address it monetarily, the better off we're going to be, even though it's going to hurt. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening.
I'm Carol Torres, and April 1st will be 3 years here, and I'm really enjoying it here. I love it here. Now, speaking of roads, I'm glad to see that we have a speed monitoring right there, and honestly, we need more up on Comanche, and because I'm moving up to the top of the hill, and then one on Horse Thief. Because I'll tell you an example personally. My vehicle broke, the front wheel broke because we slammed the brakes to not hit elk. And so I'm halfway down the hill. No one can see me. I'm near Mustang at the top, and between Mustang and Jacksonville, and blind spot. I had to call the police. Came and helped and blocked at the top so no one, because I had to rush to my new home, get the cones and put them way up there, because you won't believe it. One lady was driving 65 miles an hour. She could have killed us. And so we need signs, because they've been killing deer and elk and all these things. It's terrible, you know. Or you have cameras. You have a camera right here on Comanche right there, you know, that I see. I don't know if there's a budget for that, to, especially coming down Comanche. I see them flying because I have to go up there every day, and it's not okay. My husband and I almost got killed, and thank God the police officer. We were there 3 hours in terror, that our vehicle was going to get destroyed. And so, yeah, somebody needs to do something. Hopefully camera. That way we can, you know, they'll really try hard not to fly down there. So I'm throwing that out there. And also, one more thing, I was just wondering, my mom, when she bought this land in 1972, there was a resort. And then there was the Woodward West, I think it's called. And that's wonderful for the kids. But I'm wondering if, because I have cousins that have money, and they love in this place. They visited, they loved it. They're thinking of buying homes and property, and I need to tell them, you know, what they can look forward to. So, just throwing it out there.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Were there any others?
Good morning. Robert Bowers. I'm with Woodward West. Just to let you know that everything is still proceeding as far as the sale is concerned. We've just finished our public health inspections, just passed, and they're just step by step. But there are no deal breakers that I've been told of at this point. So soon. That's all I can give you soon. I can give you an actual date.
Thank you. Appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Were there any other comments this evening? All right. Thank you for that. We'll move on to the next item, which is our Board of Directors time. This portion of the meeting is reserved for directors to present to the board and the public information, announcements, and items that have come to their attention. No formal action will be taken. A director may request that an item be placed on a future agenda for consideration. Board?
Yeah, I would just like to follow up on both of the residents. In terms of Mr. Cook's concern about roads, yeah, I'm fully on board with where he's at, and I'm just kind of wondering, should we, you know, we even have a full board right now, set up a subcommittee to work on roads?
Can we put it on an agenda and make it an agenda item?
Yeah.
To make a decision?
That's where I was at. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
And I didn't get your name, Miss, but in terms of the young lady, I think there's going to be some announcements coming up regarding some of the issues in your second concern. So we're just waiting on that. What's the first thing you talked? I'm sorry. Oh, the speed. Now, Comanche.
main roads like Comanche and Horsey. I mean,
Yeah.
I go out there today because we're building at the top, and they're flying
Right.
down there.
Well, I actually cross Horse Thief on foot a couple times a day, where the trail crosses, and I've been toying with asking for crosswalk lines there and on all places where trails cross roads. But I haven't gotten there yet, but I do understand what you're saying and appreciate the concern. On Comanche, I believe that's a county road. Yes, General Manager?
Parts of it, yes.
Parts of it. So it may involve the county. May not be our jurisdiction on that.
Should I contact somebody about that?
Yeah, contact your county supervisor, who would be Mr. Parlier.
Yeah, this dangerous. By the way, though, a lot of the elk and deer, especially hang around that area, like, I've seen 20 to 30 at times in often.
Yeah.
And so, and some of us made it stop, and the elk made it stop, so we had, I had to wait for all 20 of them to go across the street, you know.
Yeah, I do have some.
Well, the Western Hills seems to be a place where they congregate, and they certainly come through my property. And I learned my lesson, I think the second month I was here, when I came up during a fog and made a turn, and there was an elk right in front of me. At that point, I decided 35's plenty fast. Regarding the speed monitor, now that is portable and we can transport it, but I don't think we can do that legally on a county road without their permission.
Well,
That would be a cheap question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've come to live here for at least another 30 years.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so God takes me.
Leslie, you had something?
Yeah, so I noticed something recently, and it was also brought to my attention by others. It's not a real big deal, but the entrance to the softball fields at Manowar Park, once you go through the little entry gate, which is broken, by the way, the little latch on there, it was never graded when they put in the softball fields, and so it's been eroding, and it's really steep. And it's the DG with the rocks on the top, and my son, he slipped several times trying to just go down into the softball field. So, you know, for little ones or elderly folks, it can be kind of dangerous to traverse. So if we could just get someone in there to grade that down a little bit. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot, but, you know, I know there is kind of a drastic slope as you're going up the south side to the little gate that goes up to the playground. But the entry gate that's by the bathrooms, it used to be kind of leveled off, and then you can, kind of like a little switchback. But since they did the softball fields, it looks like they just pushed the dirt and the erosion, it's just made it kind of treacherous.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any other items from the board? Okay.
Nope.
All right, thank you, everyone. We'll move on to item number 7, which is our police report sheet.
Good evening, community. Madam General Manager, Board of Directors. I was not in attendance in the month of December. I can go over that more audibly if you like. I believe there may have been some questions. So again, normally I go over that. If you'd like me to do that, then I can go into January if you like. Any preference, or will we just move on to January?
I have no questions for December.
No, me either.
Okay.
I'm sure it was quiet. I've read it.
Just, yeah, second,
Sorry.
suspended driver's license, intoxicated individual, domestic incident, yeah. For the month of January, we did have 1 arrest, 4 citations, 72 reports, 89 calls for service, 4 call-outs, 11 officer-initiated investigations, 6 assist other agencies, 4 vacation house checks, 5 medical aids. With those statistics, again, it has been kind of a downward slide just because generally during this weather. Luckily, with inclement weather, it kind of slows things down, knock on wood, since we're up against that right now currently. However, it's a little bit misleading just due to our staffing, as we are very, very busy right now. We at least have a little bit of not completely not able to catch up, but it has been kind of trying during this time. So again, just with the numbers historically, as they will continue to jump as it gets later into the year, yes, the numbers are low, but we are very taxed for what we're doing currently. We did have an arrest for criminal threats. Unfortunately, we did arrest the individual. We've had multiple cases with said person. We have an uncooperative victim, which is becoming very problematic because it's affecting our community. Frankly, it's affecting that family. We will be filing additional charges. There was an officer who, I'll just say it's me. It's not hard to basically find. Prior to this incident, we got a call for mental health. Again, the laws have changed, where generally, as long as there's no threat to anyone in the residence or the general public, you generally do not make contact with the subject. There's things that escalated prior to that basically initiated us going and making a response. As I was at the residence, I was told to tactically retreat, which has never happened. I've never even heard of that happening, let alone being involved in something like that, because the individual said he had a firearm and was going to shoot me in the head, and I was in his scope. So because of this, I see that there's definitely a need. I did not want to have to pursue criminal charges because I do understand the mental health aspect of this. But if you have family members that are constantly being abused and physically and mentally, and they refuse to be a victim, that's very challenging for them, and I'm very empathetic for what they're experiencing. But to really act on their behalf as well as the general public, I feel that there is a need that I also pursue criminal charges on that former case. Again, I believe my hand was kind of pushed on that, but I just see a bigger need so things don't tend to escalate. Currently, the individual is not in our area, but because of the arrest and him being on the hold, it gave everyone a little bit of authority to not have him be in our community and create these issues. But now that is gone because of the circumstances, we're back at square one. So it's kind of an unfortunate event. Again, it's fairly rare that the department is having to deal with things like that, but with a small community, that's unfortunately kind of a common occurrence. You may have seen that there was some chatter on social media of an individual running through several different properties. What actually happened was one of our officers was on routine patrol and came across an individual that was with a family member. We have been, and other law enforcement agencies have been attempting to locate this individual, but we didn't recognize him initially. He saw the patrol car and then ducked behind a series of trees. The officer, because it's kind of a tactical situation, decided to approach it accordingly. And as that person was laying down, he proceeded to run through a series of homes. So he did jump into backyards and several different properties that were fenced and not fenced. Due to the terrain, we did have some officers on that we would normally not have, but in a situation like that, you would generally establish a perimeter. We did ask for assistance from our allied agencies initially, but knowing that the search and span was a little bit large, we decided to go ahead and terminate that because you have officers coming, generally in emergency code, lights and sirens type of thing, so that the liability is fairly high in something like that. And at the time, all we had was there's someone running from us. We didn't actually have an additional crime until we obviously knew and ran the individual, noticed that he had multiple warrants for his arrest. We did track down a vehicle that brought him to our community because he does not live here. They were circling the area, and we were able to confirm that that was a vehicle and that the driver was a person of interest. Due to the circumstances, we did conduct a felony stop on the vehicle, thinking that the individual was in the vehicle because some of his belongings was said to be in the vehicle, but was not there. We think it may have been a diversion tactic, but we got information and cleared the scene and continued to get numerous calls for service. The individual ran across most parts of Lower Stallion Springs within a 3-hour period. He was ultimately able to get a ride out of the area, but we were getting calls from all of our community that was able to see an individual at least in their backyard or running in their backyard, but dispatch did not have it kind of triangulated, so we were going from one place to another, which obviously kind of hurt our search of the suspect. He did drop his belongings. We were able to positively identify him and confirm that he was wanted, and a report was submitted with the district attorney's office for resisting and delaying. In regards to those two items, does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
So.
Please come.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you have to come up to the podium.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you're talking about the same guy that a brother posted on Facebook that his brother got out of prison and he was coming into Stallion Springs to finish the job. He had assaulted his elderly parents, and he posted a picture of his brother walking around. The wife had dropped him off. I wonder if it's the same story, but I'm thinking for maybe post the picture because we need to be aware. I have a 92-year-old mother, a 62-year-old brother-in-law who's got Down syndrome, and my husband's kind of handicapped, and I have a little dog. So I'm the one that would have to defend our family. And so I would like to know what the person looks like because, you know, if he's breaking into houses or something, he's going to pick the wrong house, all I got to say. So if you could share a picture, like, I don't know whatever happened with the brother that came to finish the job. You know, he assaulted his elderly parents.
So there's two different things there. If you don't mind me addressing them, I'll try to address them independently. So I am aware of what you are talking about. That was incorrect on their part. So their perception was, because there's been an issue historically there, that this was the brother that was coming and had a restraining order. That was not the case. This was someone who was completely not involved in any way. This is a person who's fleeing from us. The reason why we didn't put anything out is there was no information that there was a threat to public safety. There was no information that he was armed. Again, he just had information, and we were aware that this was being posted online in multiple sources. So again, unconfirmed, because, you know, people make comments, but again, there were some comments saying that, you know, law enforcement was searching in an area and things along that line. So generally when we do like a press release or things, we have a little bit more information. Obviously, if it's a threat to public safety, we generally tell people in the immediate area, either through like our Nixle system or reverse 911 through Kern County Sheriff Dispatch. So we would be able to put that out if we believe that there's reasons to do that, because we don't want to.
Is it sent to our cell phones, like warnings and whatever?
There again, two separate things. Nixle is something that you sign up for. We're trying to possibly get away from Nixle. We still pay for that service as a district. With our website, we have the ability, but we're still kind of doing a pilot trying to figure all that out as far as notifications. So at some point, we'll kind of transfer all that to that potentially. But Nixle is a free service that you sign up and get those notifications when we put it out. The reverse 911 system is basically based on a geographical locator or your landline that the Sheriff's Department has access to, and the Sheriff's Department gives us our dispatch services so that they assist us on those type of notifications, which we have put out in the past for, large events or even, emergencies like wildfires and things like that.
One more related. So it was late at night in my house, and all of a sudden, and we had gone to bed, and then I heard a man cough in my backyard. And as I said, I'm the one that's going to have to protect my family. I grabbed a flashlight, and I pointed because it doesn't have a fence or anything. And so I pointed that direction, but obviously that person ran to the corner, because I'm in the middle of the block, to the corner because I could hear the hound dogs barking. So I didn't bother to call you because obviously he ran away.
When was that?
This was a few months ago.
Okay.
I heard a guy coughing in my backyard and at night in the dark. And so, but what I did do was I opened my sliding door and I slammed it, and I heard him taking off. So, yeah.
So
I feel the need to be aware. I'm a light sleeper. But I feel like still have to protect my family.
what time did that occur?
I'm trying to remember. It was late at night, and it wasn't recent. Not that.
Right.
It was way back, and he coughed. I have no fence. I'm on golf course number 15. This is my backyard, and so I heard him cough, and it freaked me out. And so then I jumped up, grabbed the flashlight, and was going to flash him, and then I opened my sliding door and I slammed it intentionally and left. And because here's a prison guard has 2 hound dogs at the corner, and I heard them barking and going crazy. So, but I didn't bother to call you because he was already running, and who knows where he went.
No, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. So again, address that. We always encourage our residents to do a little bit more security around their property. If you can, put some exterior lighting around your home. That is usually a deterrent. Again, try not to have really bright lights if possible, but exterior lighting is definitely a deterrent. And if possible, some type of video footage, surveillance around your home. You do have to remember those are just tools to help. It doesn't necessarily capture anything. Sometimes, again, Murphy's Law, things don't work when you need them to. But oftentimes they do. Again, sometimes it's a good witness. It's good to capture, that stuff. We also encourage, if you can, because it is an outside expense, try to get something that has high resolution or even, obviously sound and even night vision. That is extremely helpful. Not all cameras have that. So you want to have a fairly robust system. Cameras are becoming more affordable, but it's still a cost, if it's a subscription service or not. We do encourage you to call, because, again, we're available 24 hours, but we're not on duty 24 hours. So, again, it's the kind of the priority list as far as what dispatch gives us. Sometimes they will call us out if we're not on duty. Sometimes it tends until we come back the next day, which isn't going to help the situation. If you just say, I believe that they're in my property, and, I'm not telling you to add anything to it, because obviously you have to articulate why you're calling law enforcement. But you do have to understand it is solely on how you articulate those facts to dispatch if you're going to get immediate response or not, if we're not on. And being a good neighbor, it really goes down to Stallion is becoming a larger community that is having the same type of issues that all of our surrounding areas in California are having. I mean, again, I think that was because of the support with Measure A. Is I think most of the people in our community and many people in this room kind of see that of, we do need more law enforcement, and this community is growing. I mean, if you look at historically what happened 5-10 years ago is vastly different from the calls of service that we're getting currently on a very reoccurring basis. So again, I'm not trying to do scare tactics. It's just the community has grown. Anytime, you know, there's more people, there's going to be more calls for service. There's going to be more roads used. There's going to be more water used, sewer, those type of things. So, you know, you obviously know that, but if you do see suspicious activity, it is important to report it. Oftentimes people will come into the office after the fact, you know, weeks, months, and then advise us. It doesn't really help us, and we can't really investigate anything properly if we don't have the information in a timely manner. So again, we do have options. If you don't want to go through dispatch, you could also go through our online system and report it, just as a FYI, and then we can kind of look at it if you don't want to contact dispatch for whatever reason. Does that answer your questions in regards to those things?
Well, the reason I didn't call you too is because I couldn't describe the person. I just heard him cough, and I heard him run. So, you know, I didn't know if I was going to be questioned, and I don't have any answers. You would know who this is.
Yeah, so thank you for doing that. Again, it might still be helpful because, again, you know, we're going to be in the area. If there's just someone who's walking around aimlessly, it gives us the authority to stop. So I know we've mentioned this before, is people aren't suspicious, their behavior is. So we can't profile people just because they look a certain way or they dress a certain way, but it's their behavior. So again, if you call at some hour and we're in the area and we come across someone in that general vicinity, now we have a legal reason why we could stop and detain and look further. But again, they are going to ask those questions. You are completely correct.
What I've done the following day is I put wooden dowels on all my doors and sliding doors and windows, you know, for now.
Yes, that's extremely helpful.
Yeah.
Those are good things to do.
We can't, I've discovered that we can't be too comfortable to think that we're in a very safe place.
Correct. You know, if you look at our crime statistics, they are fairly low, but we are susceptible to having large crimes. I mean, again, people who attend these meetings know that we have had some big arrests that outside people are coming. Sometimes it's our own residents, but yes, you can't be complacent and think that we're immune to having these issues. We do have them, and if we can do anything collectively as a group, that would be very helpful. You know, again, it's the community, right? Talking amongst your neighbors, talking amongst your community, as well as having the police have that conversation to try to eliminate some of those potential issues.
I'm sorry, I'm just curious, do you have trailer easement against the backside of your property?
No, it's I'm on.
You're on the golf course, right?
It's,
Yeah.
Golf course number 15.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was a trailer easement.
But you're not allowed to put a fence up there.
Right.
Then what else can the deer and all a lion came in, hang out, you know, it's like open.
And that's the other issue, is that there is some trespass issues on the golf course that are being addressed. I mean, again, there was kind of a laissez-faire atmosphere of just kind of go out there if you were going to walk your dog and things like that. Again, the owner has mentioned that they do not want anyone on the property, but people, I think everyone knows that people do go on there. They do have a person who's responsible for responding and reporting those things to us. So again, it's just having that communication as well. And, you know, it could be something as simple and harmless as that, but it could have been someone who could have been potentially prowling. Again, not scare tactics, but, you know, if it's important to you, it's important to us.
That cop was too close. It was in the backyard, not in the field. You know, a person,
Right.
It was a male cop, and it was deep and too close, obviously in the backyard. So that's why I
Understand. And then, as far as your other concern, ma'am, certainly there's a lot of speeding issues everywhere. Again, Stallion Springs is not immune. Speeding is an issue throughout California. We are trying to do the best we can to address those issues. Again, you, my community, don't want to hear about my staffing issues. You don't. I mean, it really comes down to that, but it comes down to how do you do that? It's a little bit more complex. Is you have to know about it. We encourage our residents to kind of let us know that there might be some speeding issues if you want our radar trailer or try to have law enforcement make a presence in those areas. The radar trailer has been very good because it's given us a tremendous amount of data that I hope to include in the future for some things. Won't pigeonhole myself quite yet, but it's able to kind of break things down where it shows if there certainly is an issue in those areas or if it's just certain times or certain dates, things like that. So yes, if you would like to have the radar trailer, there is some sight lines that have to be done. It has to be able to see a certain distance. What I do want to be clear on is it is not an enforcement tool in any way. It's just basically a visual reminder to slow down. For those who may have been speeding through the area, and I don't encourage you to do so, but if you are to exceed the speed limit that it's calibrated for, it has a series, sometimes the lights will go on and it'll tell you to slow down, and it kind of gives you a visual reminder. Some people think it's funny to test it. Again, we have data. There is some technology that we use to our ability, but it's just a tool, kind of like the surveillance that I was talking about. It's a tool for us to gather the data and to hopefully have more enforcement throughout the community type of thing. So I've already got multiple requests of wanting that trailer in their area, and kudos to the board of directors and the general manager and the department. We believe that was a very important tool, and especially with Measure A, that was one of the main things that was being brought up from time to time is their speeding issues. We're trying to prove on those things. It's just been taking a little bit longer. We are doing those things and looking for other alternatives, but that's just one of the things that we came up with. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. May I suggest some spots, like where I see it mostly, is on Stallion Springs and Comanche, that intersection? And by the way, that's a child drop-off, bus stop, drop-off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on Jack's Hill and Horse Thief. They love to fly down that hill.
Yeah, I mean, if you have some ideas, yes, generally it's your area, but if you have some knowledge, if you've been walking like Ben does from time to time, or you drop off your kids, if you are seeing that there's violations or what you perceive to be a violation, it's very helpful for us to try to do enforcement action. With that said, there's some that are very critical that we're not there or we're not doing those things. I can tell you that is not the case. Again, it's just not at the time where you see us. So there was some recent issues with the bus stop. There was an incident where the bus had to stop abruptly to prevent getting in a collision. Again, when you read something online, you have to use that with a grain of salt because sometimes it doesn't have, I would say oftentimes it doesn't have the whole totality of the circumstances. So in that situation, yes, there was a juvenile that was moved in the bus and, to my understanding, was injured. Per California state law, the California Highway Patrol handle school bus crashes or school bus incidents. So that's why the police department didn't handle that, but what was perceived and was presented online was Stallion Springs doesn't care, they're not doing anything. And it was simply, that's not, even though it happened in our area, it's one of those rare exceptions, that's why you saw the California Highway Patrol there, and it was being addressed, and we were knowledgeable of it. With that said, you know, most parents are going to say that they do see us periodically during the afternoons and some mornings. Unfortunately, I would say most departments, unless you have a school resource officer, are not going to have that presence, to be fair.
Well, I meant your speed reporter, not yourself.
Well, it goes both though.
Those, areas, like those intersections.
Right, so again, the radar trailers initially to help get that data to show us when those times, is it a problem? Because again, we want to be efficient, right? We want to enforce, we want to educate, but we need to know. I mean, we've had some neighborhoods that have given us some feedback that there's speeding issues and the data says otherwise. And we have spent multiple hours trying to do enforcement, we haven't gotten a single stop. So again, it's about being transparent and showing what we're trying to do, but there's also the enforcement component to it as well, right? So the visual trailer is one part of it, but I think the community also wants to see the enforcement of, curtailment, if it's a verbal warning or if they get a citation. So again, that's what we want to do as a department to try to eliminate that. With that trailer being on Comanche Point, I don't see that being an issue because, again, we're not taking any enforcement action with that trailer. With that trailer, you can't issue any citations with any of the data or anything that comes from that. Again, there's been some misconceptions that have been related on that. So if that's one area that, is definitely a need, and I was actually, I believe it was Monday, doing radar in that general area and other areas of the community as well. So that would not be an issue. Now, as far as any type of road improvements, if it's a crosswalk or anything like that, I would say from the entrance of Stallion Springs all the way to the end of the paved area of Stallion Springs is within the jurisdiction and responsibility of Kern County Roads. So we cannot make any type of improvements. We would have to go through the Kern County Roads to get approval and get their data. We have done things like that in the past where we have requested signs and other things that were not granted, but any type of improvements to the roadway itself. Now, there has been a little bit of, I would say, a little bit of a dispute as far as jurisdiction of whose responsibility it is as far as enforcement action. Again, you may see us outside of our area doing enforcement action, but as a law enforcement officer, we have that authority jurisdictional-wise because we're officers in the state of California. And again, those people are affecting our areas as well. So it's a little confusing because some states are different and your knowledge base is where you came from. So for us, it's just, we're trying to enforce within Stallion Springs and anything that affects Stallion Springs. So again, we want to do the best efficient manner that we possibly can with education enforcement. And again, I think that component of our officers as well as the trailer is helping to do that. That answers your question.
Thank you.
I just want to add that I love the thank you feature on the radar trailer. And of course, it always says thank you whenever I pass it.
Could I ask?
Sure, certainly.
If you could come up. Yeah. Thank you.
With regards to recruiting, are you making any progress for more headcount?
So we have made some progress, not to my full-time officers. I am looking at outside of the box ideas that I'm very optimistic about, that I've talked to the general manager about, that will help with the police department and the community's needs. It will not be, it won't be a sworn body, but it'll be someone who can definitely be visible and helpful. I won't steal the general manager's thunder as far as a very important hire. I think in the last couple of meetings we've kind of mentioned that, but I know it's intermittent, so I don't want to take that from her. But we have made some progress. Like we mentioned in the Tehachapi News, as well as community meetings such as this, you're going to ask, what has the police department done since Measure A has passed? And we have made a tremendous amount of progress. We do have one officer, a new officer with Officer Esposito, who has done a fantastic job for us. But finding a full-time lateral transfer officer is increasingly difficult because everyone in the state of California is doing that. We are trying to be selective for your needs in the community because, I don't feel, reducing our standards is beneficial in any way for what this board, the general manager, or what you expect. So, we have had multiple people who have applied for us. Oftentimes they are new hires. Again, we do not have anyone to train them currently. So we're looking and trying to steal those important bodies from other agencies, but it's been a very big challenge. So with that in mind, it's trying to think, what can we do to obviously help with our workload and help with the community as a whole, and I think we're definitely looking at those options.
So, a couple of off-the-wall ideas. Are there areas that we could help you with, let's say electronically, digitally, where we could help target and build awareness to drive people in that perhaps you're not able to do? And then the second question is, along the same lines, if a couple of us were to go out to where cops are having meetings, regional meetings and so forth, and put up a table, not on the district's dime, and sign a waiver, not making promises on part of the district, but just as, let's call them boosters, and just pay for our own hotel room and go out and just set up a table and put up a placard and have conversations to drive interest. Would that be useful? And if so, could you identify the areas where we could go fishing?
So, Steve, that's a very interesting
you don't
way
have to
of looking
answer
at things.
tonight. I'm
Again,
just putting a bug in your ear.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it.
You don't have the resources to do it.
Right.
But there's a lot of old guys like me that could do it.
Right.
You may not, me personally doing it, that's fine, but, Tim or some of the other guys that are retired, they might be interested in the road trip and going out and having a conversation with some of the guys.
Yeah, the reason I'm not opposed to it, it's a little unorthodox, but I'm okay with that.
I know. It's fishing.
I think it has to be done with a more complex advertising campaign. I've talked to the general manager about that. We'll get some assistance with that messaging getting out, but I think that might be a helpful thing. Let me think about that.
Well, we could role play it.
Okay.
Right, and you could say yes or no, but I'm just throwing it out there because I haven't heard it, and so it's, I've done it for decades, and I know other people that do these things, and I don't know a lot of people in the district that have done this, but certainly I'm not willing to go out. I'm not afraid of going out and have conversations with people I don't know, and pitching ideas.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so it's, got the resources to do it, and we need to fill seats. And if we can help you drive that, build the awareness, and you can do the qualifications, then great. So, I haven't talked to Tim about it, but he lives right next door, so, I can have a conversation.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
We were looking at all options, and again, Stallion Springs is very unique where, we're trying to sell the area as much as we can. Yep. We're not able to offer the pay that they're accustomed to. Right. With Measure A, we're getting there. Right. But there's still much to be desired, but it's trying to explain it. Right. Why do you want to come here as opposed to a neighboring agency or even a larger agency?
But see, I can pitch the area. Somebody else can pitch the job.
Right.
Right. And, obviously you're looking for somebody that's still seasoned and skilled and, meets all the check-off items, and it's a lateral. Cool. But we can pitch the area. That's easy. Okay. That's an easy explanation.
Sounds good, Steve. Okay. I'll be in contact. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, was there anything else? If not, then we need a motion to receive and file.
I make a motion to receive and file the police report.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, our next item on the agenda this evening is our consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the board or an audience member requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. The items, there are 5 items on the consent calendar this evening, and they are approval of the minutes of the January 2026 regular board meeting, review of financial reports, approval of checks for January 2026, approval of CalPERS retirement payments, and review of well production report. Are there any items that needed to be moved from the consent calendar?
Director Sassett, I would like to pull item 2 for separate discussion, please.
Okay. All right, then we need a motion to pull item 2 and to approve the remaining 4 items on the consent calendar.
I make a motion to pull number 2, review of financial reports for a later meeting, and to approve the consent calendar 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. All right, item number 9, appointment of measure.
Director, if I may.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I wanted to pull that so that I could elaborate on it for you.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
I just want to give some background. As you know, for several months now in your board packet, there has been a letter from our financial officer sort of explaining a situation that we've been experiencing with the County of Kern. At the end of the fiscal year, the County of Kern changed software reporting programs, and it, for lack of a better word, had a lot of issues. And we had situations where we went months on end without receiving the financial reports we need from the county to create our reports within the district. They have sort of started to overcome that, and I wanted the board to be updated that as of just this morning, we finally have November's numbers. So we're making progress, we're catching up, the county is ironing out things on their end, and we should be able to provide complete financial reports, accurate financial reports very soon. So I wanted the board to understand that.
Okay, thank you.
Should I make a motion to receive and file?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the review of the financial reports.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Okay, item number 9, appointment of Measure A Committee Board Member. Board to appoint a board member to replace Director Record on the Measure A Committee. So with Director Record no longer being on the board, that has left our committee without a board member. Oh, I know you.
I'm already on it. You can't pick me. I'm sorry.
I know you're already on it, and you're on the committee.
From the reports we've gotten recently, it doesn't seem like they're terribly active. Can we wait till we get the 5th member back in here? A new board member? Or do we need to do this now?
So, from our last meeting, like, we're kind of waiting to be able to choose the other members, which I think we should move forward with, if I'm correct.
I agree. I think that the
We
community
stalemated.
wants to see that put into place and ready to go at the end of the fiscal year in June. So once the money is coming in, there's already discussion and planning and suggestions. I don't know, Chief, if you have any additional input on that?
I support whatever decision's being made. I mean, again, preferably sooner than later, but I understand the board's position, especially, you know, there's a lot of intermingling committees and things like that, so I support whatever decision is made tonight.
And technically, if we assign another board member, they can step down once we get a 5th, if the 5th does want to step in, correct?
Yeah, that's entirely up to the board, sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. If the board approves, I'm willing to step in to the committee for Measure A.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 10, committee reports.
Well, I'm on both committees and there is nothing to report. So, does anybody want to add anything?
Well, that was the Measure A committee. With the CC&R committee, I think we are reconfiguring right now. And we have met once and intend to meet again fairly soon, but nothing really to report this time.
All right, thank you. Okay, item number 11 is our general manager's report.
Good evening. Okay, so it's been busy. We're really busy. So this month I assisted Chief Crowell with advertising, collecting resumes, and choosing candidates to fill the administrative assistant position for the Stallion Springs Police Department. This is a brand new position. This position has never existed before. It is a common position. Most law enforcement agencies have an administrative clerk in their office. Almost 30 applications were received. Chief Officer Espedito and I reviewed all of the applications and chose 9 candidates for in-person interviews. I want to thank Director Record for assisting us with the interviews before leaving office February 9th. Although it was not a mandatory requirement for the position, we were fortunate enough to have a candidate that brought past law enforcement experience to the table. Her name is Sarah Mountjoy, and she will be starting in the next few weeks. Sarah has worked in law enforcement administration for the Kern County Sheriff's Department and the Attachment Police Department in the past. So we're very excited to bring Sarah on board, and hopefully she'll be able to attend a meeting in the future so everyone can meet her. I continue to provide documentation dating back to 2015 for the legal discovery requirements for the litigation Harkey versus SSCSD case. It is still ongoing. I'm still pulling documents. I met with resident Richard Dusaina. I believe I'm pronouncing that correct, but I'm probably not, so I'm sorry, Richard. He is a local AFLAC representative. The CSD now has an account set up, and informational meetings will be conducted in late March to now offer AFLAC sign-ups to full-time employees of the district at no cost to the district. I represent Stallion Springs monthly at the Greater Tehachapi Economic Development meeting. And then I wanted to share also that April and Jason and I met with Civic Plus. And if you recall, Civic Plus is the host provider for our website and also provides us with our social media archiving software. They now have utility billing software. It's a brand new adventure for them. I'm waiting to hear back on pricing, but the software that they offer far exceeds the capabilities of the current software that the district is using. We currently cannot provide online payment, for example, paperless billing, tap to pay. You know, I mean, people are paying with their Apple Watch now. This is the level of service that the residents and the community, I believe, expect from the district. And hopefully, if we can make the budget work correctly, we will soon be able to make that change and provide that extra level of service to the community. So I'm very excited about that. Many of you are used to receiving your little postcards every other month, and you wouldn't believe the number of them that are lost every month because it's a little tiny postcard and it gets mixed in with your coupons everywhere, you know, it just happens. So hopefully we were going to be able to make some really great changes to the way that we bill. So we're excited. Stallion Springs Park and Recreation Department is going to take on pickleball as a program. In the past, there were residents, a small group of residents who just sort of started casually playing pickleball on Saturday mornings in our gymnasium. And that has grown to over 22 players last Saturday. And the majority of them are now not Stallion Springs residents. And it's become cumbersome. The couple of, I call them our core pickleball founders, used to be able to make sure that the 5 people that were playing had their liability waivers on file and were able to police the courts and police the rules a little easier. With 22 people in the gymnasium, it was impossible. So it's a huge liability to the district if we have someone playing that doesn't have a liability waiver on file, for example. So the core pickleball players came to us and said, what can we do? And I said, well, you can form an official club and rent the gym from us like volleyball and basketball clubs currently do, or we can take the program. And they offered and opted for us to take the program. What that means is we will have staff there, checking them in, making sure their liability waivers on file, etc. So if you are a non-resident, and I'm going to stress non-resident, there will be a $15 a month fee or a $5 drop-in fee, and that helps cover the cost of our staff being there. You know, the lights are on, the heaters are on, paper towels are getting used, things like that. So we just started, tonight is the first night. Our rec aide is over there with her laptop, and she's going through and making sure everybody's got their waivers on file, and we're moving forward. There'll probably be a few hiccups. We understand, we'll work through them. But I want the community, I want to stress to the community that if you are a Stallion Springs resident, it continues to be a free program for you at this time. Spring Festival, we combined our Easter egg hunt with a festival atmosphere this year. There will be vendors in the gymnasium, there will be a couple of food trucks, face painting, some additional activities in addition to the Easter egg hunt. With our winter still not arriving, I hope our weather holds out. So we're excited about that. That's going to be March 21st. We're already starting to advertise for lifeguard positions. The Park and Rec districts in Bear Valley and in town are starting to hold their certification classes. So we're moving forward with that already. Car show, second annual Horsepower Havoc Car Show, Saturday before Father's Day, as a benefit for our police department, as a fundraiser. We're very excited. We already have a reputation amongst the car people, and they're already calling and asking us if we're going to do it again. So yes is the answer, and save the date, and a lot of sponsorship opportunities and information will be going out in the next week or two. So yeah, it's a busy time of year, and as you know, we're prepared. There is probably a storm coming in tomorrow, so our Public Works Department already has the snow plows attached to the front of their trucks, and they are ready to go if needed, which is a wonderful asset that we provide the community. That's very nice. We had 2 water leaks, one on Stallion Springs Drive and one on Spy Class. We did repair some potholes throughout the district, replaced some stop signs and speed limit signs that had faded and were not legible anymore or just blew off in the wind. I'm sad to tell everybody that our cute little library box right here suffered wind damage today and fell over. We will be repairing it and putting it back up, but our sweet little community library box hit the pavement today. So that, unless there's questions, I think that covers everything.
I have 2 quick ones.
Yes.
Are we thinking about doing any kind of digital waiver, like for the pickleball, for the trail, stuff like that? Anything online that people can?
Everything's online.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
Through Rec Desk.
Then the other thing is, for the Easter egg hunt last year, it said the event starts at 11, but a lot of people took that as that's when like the vendors are opening, that's not when the actual Easter egg. Could we specify when the Easter egg hunt starts and then when the vendors are there doing their thing?
Sure,
It was
I'll
one
give
start-
that
it was
feedback to Parks and Rec.
One start time, and there was a ton of people that showed up like 15 minutes late, like, I think it was like at 10. Showed up a little bit later thinking like that's when gates open, not necessarily when the hunt starts, so.
Okay, I'll ask them to clarify that.
Okay, perfect, that's it.
Now, Laura Lynn, could you please expand upon your participation with the Greater Tehachapi Economic Development Forum? How does that benefit us, the district?
So I have been a member of their board for many, many years, long before I started working here. I currently serve as their treasurer, but how it directly affects Stallion Springs is there are reports given in that meeting from all government agencies on the mountain, updates given, and including now Stallion Springs. I take my time and I talk about what we're doing in Stallion. It raises the awareness. It lets me understand what's going on with the city of Tehachapi or Tehachapi Coming Water or Golden Hills or the Park District. There's also private businesses there, such as Pacific Steel Group, who is building the first California steel plant in many, many, many years that is potentially bringing 300 jobs to the vicinity. So that knowledge then I bring back to Stallion Springs and I think, okay, wow, 300 new jobs is a big deal. Potentially, where are they going to live? Do we need to prepare for additional water customers, additional kids in our recreation programs, things like that. So that's really the benefit of it is it's talking about the greater Tehachapi area's economic status and information.
Thank you. Yeah, and I do believe Tehachapi is becoming the preeminent area of development and residence in the entire eastern Kern County because of a lot of failed communities.
Yeah, and I just really feel, and I think I touched on this, in fact, maybe in my initial interview for this position, I just really feel that it's critical to leave Stallion once in a while and learn and understand and participate with all of our surrounding communities so we help each other and we work together and we don't compete with each other. I believe that some of the current groups that are paying $25 an hour to lease our gymnasium, they were made aware that we have moments in time that there was nobody using our gym, and they're struggling in town because we don't have enough gym space, and I was able to say, Stallion does, and now they're out here, the Starlings group is out here frequently leasing our gym. Things like that, I think it's very, very important. Thank you. Yes.
Quick question with regarding to the billing system. Great news. I hope it happens.
Me too.
But the grand jury indicated 3 mechanisms for informing and reporting, right? And billing packets is one of them. You can't do that with a postcard.
Absolutely, you're 100% correct.
So how do you plan on doing that with this new system if it goes forward?
So I will tell you that I was here 2 days and the grand jury report was on my desk. That was fun. They do not do postcards. It is a traditional billing system.
Okay.
Just like I experienced, and I'll tell you a funny story if I may. I know I'm talking a lot tonight, but one of my many past experiences had to do with the Golden Hills Community Services District. And I was here, Judy will remember this, because I was here very short time, and we were talking about getting the word out for an event. And I said out loud in the room, well, just put a flyer in the water bill, it'll go to everyone. And they all looked at me like I was an alien because I didn't understand that we just sent little postcards.
Right.
So you are 100% correct, and it's definitely something I'm striving for.
Okay, because I know in Santa Barbara I get a billing, a water billing every month.
Mm-hmm.
And in that I get a packet.
Yeah.
Rates going up,
standard.
trash pickup, all the
Mm-hmm.
usual things. But
Yeah.
for us, we can communicate sewer, we can communicate trash, we
Yeah.
can communicate roads.
Yeah.
And maybe we need a dashboard somewhere that, is green, yellow, and red for all the different categories. And so that, we're telling people, this is all working, there's a problem here. That level of communication. But if we're messaging all the time, at the very least, what it means is that we've met that requirement.
Correct.
Right? And the statutory...
And I agree with you 100%.
Right.
I will tell you my understanding, and I have not gone so far yet because I don't have the numbers from Civic Plus yet. But we'll have to, obviously do a comparison. But we do everything in-house, which is also very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Usually there's a third party that
Right.
prints and folds and mails and,
Right.
And historically, this district just has not had the funding to be able to do something
Yeah,
like
I started out that way with a typewriter, invoices every month, and an adding machine tape. I know how it works. But I think, we need to get beyond just statutory requirements and mechanisms to building awareness and creating buy-in over time. And that's got to be our strategic goal is buy-in.
Yes.
So we need to message on the points that people need to understand to the level that they want to do it. So we're not fighting like we were the last time around.
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Were there any more comments or questions for our general manager? Then we need a motion to receive and file the general manager's report.
I would like to make a motion to receive and file the general manager's report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And we just need a motion to adjourn.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for this evening.